From Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, this is Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. TicketBash.com, where memories are made affordable and where you'll never pay a service fee. Check out TicketBash.com for some great flyaway packages, including Jets versus Dolphins in Miami and Giants versus Falcons in Atlanta. Sports Bash is also presented by the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund, a group of like-minded individuals trying to raise awareness for our future generations of all possibilities of success other than just college. For more information, visit www.lookwhomadeit.org. Sports Bash is brought to you by the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Every customer is considered family at the Embassy Diner. Mention Sports Bash and get a free dessert with your meal. By Living Legends, memorabilia and collectibles in Rockville Center, Long Island's go-to store for sports, entertainment, and political memorabilia since 1996. They are also available for charity auctions. Mention Sports Bash when you come in and get a free autograph photo. Give Warren a call at 516-826-4000. By Bearcat Billing Service, your trusted partner in medical billing. Experience the Bearcat way, personal, professional, and tailored to your needs. Give Gary a call at 516-796-2400 and tell him Sports Bash sent you. By the Marty Lyons Foundation, the official charity of Sports Bash Media. For more information, go to martylyonsfoundation.org. And by Collaborate Studios, a content marketing production facility. For more information, call them at 516-509-8277. Well, hi again, everyone. I'm Peter Schwartz. An early happy Thanksgiving to everybody who is part of the Sports Bash Media family, everyone who watches, the staff here with Tony Walker, Vinny Tickets, everybody, all the viewers that have been so good to the show over the last year or so. A very, very happy Thanksgiving to my family, friends, everybody who's been so supportive. It is wonderful on this day before Thanksgiving to be on the air with this special Wednesday edition of the show. And then next week, we're back to our regular schedule of Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 o'clock. 516-465-3990 is the number to call. Make sure you're subscribing to the Governor's Comedy Club podcast page on YouTube. You can also catch us on Facebook. And I'm understanding that there might be a little problem with the YouTube feed right now. So if you go to Governor's Comedy Club podcasts on Facebook, you can watch it there as well. So we're trying to work through the kinks on YouTube. Tony Walker's got his toolbox out. He's sweating profusely. He's trying to figure it out. We'll get there. In any event, the show will be archived. You'll be able to watch it later if you can't get us either on Facebook or YouTube. It's definitely on Facebook. It's definitely on Facebook. So for those who are texting me and want to know what's going on, you can watch the show on Facebook. You know what? While I have that on my head, let me just text my wife, because if she doesn't know it's on Facebook, let's see. I'm going to live text my wife right while I'm on the air. Little problem with YouTube. You can watch the show on Governors on Facebook. There you go. This little nice thing I just did, because my wife she'll be worried. Like if it doesn't come up at 103, 104, she gets a little worried. So there you go. You can watch it on Facebook as well. And I should have always been mentioning that you can watch it either on YouTube or on Facebook. It doesn't matter. Same show on both channels. We have a great show coming up at 1:20. And he has been a great friend of the show. He's been on the old show at LI News Radio. He's been on my other podcasts that I've done as well. Always great to be joined by Mike Delguidice from Billy Joel's band. Mike's going to be performing his solo concert this Friday and Saturday at Mulcahy's in Wantagh. Always a great show, whether you see Mike at Mulcahy's in Wantagh or if you go see him in the Paramount in Huntington. He puts on an unbelievable show. And there was a time where when you think of Mike Delguidice and Big Shot, you think of just strictly him being a Billy Joel cover band. And that is not the case anymore, because he is now noted for his solo material as well, whether it's Mona Lisa, Where Have the Heroes Gone. His solo material is absolutely phenomenal. So we'll talk to Mike about his solo material, about touring with Billy, and we'll talk to him at 1:20. At 1:40, we'll be joined by Patricia Traina, who covers the Giants for SI. She also hosts the Locked On Giants podcast. That'll be coming up at 1:40. I still have to text two more people because these are two important people that need to know that they can watch on on Facebook. So pardon me for just 1 second. There's Mom, a problem with show on YouTube. You can watch later because I can never tell. There's a problem with my mother. Like if you send her a link, she'll click on it and it works. But if there's a problem, she has no idea what to do. So if I have to tell her, you can watch it later watch it later. There we go. And now what I have to do is I have to text Mike Delguidice's agent because he's going to be looking for it. Problem with YouTube.
It's live on Facebook right now. It'll be on YouTube within 20 minutes after the show's over. My apologies.
You can watch on Governor's GOVER, our Governor's Facebook page. There we go. And Tom is familiar with that because you have a relationship with Tom and Mike as well. You're going to text him too?
I'll send it. I'll send him the link on Facebook.
There you go. Okay, so thank you, Tony, doing a yeoman's work here while he's having lunch and trying to get us on the air on YouTube. But no worries. We'll have everything up and running in a little bit so you can watch on Facebook. Hopefully the YouTube feed will come up in just a moment. Let's get to business here on this Thanksgiving Eve as far as Sports Bash is concerned. And we'll talk music with Mike and we'll talk Giants with Patricia Traina a little bit later on in the show. And I'm thinking about this for a day or so. I mean, how do you start a show the day before Thanksgiving? And in the past, when I've done shows around the holidays, the easy slam dunk, when you're a sports talk show host, the easy slam dunk topic the day before or the day of Thanksgiving is what are you most thankful for as a sports fan? It's a slam dunk. Sports talk show hosts have been doing it for years and years. It's easy. It's sports radio 101. And then when the holidays, when Christmas and Hanukkah come, the other slam dunk thing, and we'll do this when we get to that a little bit later on in December, is you're Santa or you're Hanukkah Harry. You get to pick a present for your favorite sports team. And we'll do that when we get closer to Christmas and Hanukkah. Tony didn't flinch when I said Hanukkah Harry. No, you did. I didn't say, maybe I wasn't looking over at that time. Because usually if I say something really funny, you fall out of your chair. It's only been a few weeks that we've been here, but and it's probably only a handful of times that I am funny that you fell out of your chair. So I was waiting for you to go, which is something like you usually do when I say something that's somewhat hysterical. But yeah, so Hanukkah Harry, yeah, and Santa. Now there you go. Thank you, Tony. This is why everyone needs to also watch the Knock 'em Dead comedy show from Monday through Friday from 11 to 12:30, right before we come in and ruin everything for the course of the day. But Tony does a great, you laugh your head off listening to his show. Great guests all the time. But that's besides the point. So my question is, what are you, as a New York, New Jersey area sports fan, what are you most thankful for? And when you think about it, really, there's not much. The Jets are a disaster. The Giants a disaster. We've talked about that ad nauseum. Now, in hockey, the Rangers are not doing well right now, if you're a Ranger fan. The Islanders still can't hold a third period lead. And I'm expecting more of the same tonight when I go to the game against the Bruins tonight. I'm sure they'll have a lead in the third period, and they'll piss it away like they normally do. But we'll see. We'll see how that works out tonight. Now, if you're a basketball fan, Nets, yeah, they've had some good games this year, but the Knicks obviously are a contender for the Eastern Conference Championship. They'll get their act together consistently. They're scoring points like you've never seen before. They got Karl Anthony Towns, and OG Anunoby had 40 points the other night. So you can be thankful if you're a Knicks fan. But the real thing that you have to be thankful for right now in the New York area are the baseball teams. Because the Mets get to the NLCS out of nowhere, having to make the playoffs on the last game of the season. And then they go in the wild card round, and Alonso hits that dramatic home run to get the Mets to the next round against the Phillies. They beat the Phillies. They lose to the Dodgers. And if you're a Yankee fan, the mission statement at the end of every year is to get to the World Series. You don't always win it, but you get to the World Series. The Yankees did that this year. Now, the fifth inning of Game 5 didn't go exactly great, and maybe we're talking about a different story if things went a little differently in that series. But in any event, the Mets and Yankees right now, and to a certain extent the Knicks, but the Knicks season really just getting underway, but the Yankees and the Mets are the apple of New York fans' eyes right now. There's no question about it. When you think about what you're thankful for, it has to be the Mets and the Yankees. And hopefully soon we will know what's going on with Juan Soto. I am going to stick to my guns and say that Juan Soto is going to be a Met. Because I have a hard time. You looked at me like I have 5 heads.
I heard a rumor that actually Boston is the front runner right now.
Let me give you a little bit of sports talk, covering sports, little insight.
That's why you are who you are.
Right, I try to be. And I don't have any inside information on this, but when you hear all these rumors and innuendo, the Bruins are making the Red Sox are making. I got the Bruins on my mind because I'm going to the Islander game tonight. But you hear, the Red Sox are in it, and then when you start to hear the Rays have checked in on Juan Soto. The Rays don't even have a stadium right now. They're playing in the Yankee spring training facility this year. True. Because the storm blew off the roof at Tropicana Field. And the other night we heard the Dodgers are making a bid. And then we heard the Mets have the inside track. Now the word was yesterday, I don't know where and when you saw the Red Sox thing, but now the feeling late yesterday was that, and remember the Dodgers got Blake Snell last night, so they just spent a fortune of money on Blake Snell. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they would have a little bit left over for Juan Soto, but that may be a little bit less likely now. But last night, the feeling around a lot of people was that Juan Soto is using the Mets to drive up the price with the Yankees. Because now, and you heard Hal Steinbrenner talk at the owners' meetings about how he knows what he has to do about Juan Soto because the fans want him back. All the media thinks he has to be back to make the Yankees complete next year. But now, and Met fans are starting to sweat it out a little bit because when you hear people talking about this yesterday, Juan Soto wants to come back to the Yankees, but he's going to go to the team that gives him the most money. So now, is he really interested in going to the Mets, or is he just using Steve Cohen to really turn the screws up on Hal Steinbrenner? Right. Which is now I'm starting to think that way, but I still have a hard time in my heart of hearts. And I'd love to have Juan Soto back with the Yankees. But in my heart of hearts, I don't see anybody writing a bigger check than Steve Cohen is going to write. And that's what it's going to come down to. And I said this before on the show. I said this during the old show. I said this a few weeks ago during the playoffs. Juan Soto is going to the team that gives him the most money. End of story, period, exclamation point, no question mark. Juan Soto goes to the team that gives him the biggest check. And until I'm proven wrong or until something else happens, I don't see any other team than the Mets and Steve Cohen writing that biggest check. I thought the only way that the Yankees could get him back is if, at the end of the season, Juan Soto and Scott Boras went to Hal Steinbrenner, Hal Steinbrenner went to Juan Soto and Scott Boras and said, what will it take to sign Juan? And if they gave a number and Hal Steinbrenner said, absolutely, let's do the deal right now, end of story, we're done, I thought that would be the only way the Yankees could get him back. But that's, he's 26 years old, Juan Soto. It very rarely do you have a free agent, a generational player like Juan Soto, 26 years old as a free agent, and can write wherever he wants to go to. He's going to the highest bidder. And listen, I just still think in my heart of hearts, it's going to be Steve Cohen. Because even if they get the offer from Steve Cohen and they go to George, I wish George was alive, and they go to Hal, because Hal will be like, see, if George was alive, he'd have the checkbook out. Hey, what do you want? Yep. Like that, like that, like that. Hal Steinbrenner, what do you want? Oh, God. Oh, God. So how many tickets we got to sell for that? Oh, my God, how many more jerseys do we have to sell for that? Oh, let me get my memorabilia guy. I mean, how many balls do we have to get autographed and sell at the store for $500? Oh, my. Like, he may eventually do it like he did for Aaron Judge, but it's going to be a process. But even if Hal Steinbrenner matches, like, whatever the Met offer is, let's just say it's, 15 years, I can't even think. I can't even think of those numbers, whatever they're going to be. And he matches it. Well, they go back to the Mets, and Steve Cohen ups the offer. And Hal's not going to keep doing that. So that's why I think he's going to the Mets. But we shall see. Maybe we'll get an answer. I thought there was a chance we get an answer before Thanksgiving. Maybe it comes today. Wouldn't it be interesting if we came on, if we got the answer right before we went on, and then I had to stay on a little bit longer to talk about it? Well, we'll have to see what happens. But I think he's going to the Mets. We'll see what happens. 516-465-3990 is the number to call. When we come back on Sports Bash, we're going to be joined by one of the great musicians ever to come out of Long Island, and just an absolute super, super musician, great guy. And you know him from his solo work. You also know him as part of Billy Joel's band. Good friend of the program, Mike Delguidice, is going to join us when we come back on Sports Bash right after this. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner.
In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission: to bring moments of joy and hope to critically ill children by granting wishes that make their dreams come true. Since that day, we have touched the lives of over 8,500 families, raising over $43 million to grant wishes that offer a beacon of light in their darkest times. These precious wishes cost an average of $6,700 each, and your support is crucial to our mission. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. And with 76 cents of every dollar going directly to supporting our families, you can rest assured your support truly changes lives. The Marty Lyons Foundation operates 11 chapters in 14 states now, working tirelessly to reach as many children as we can. This dedication goes hand in hand with our commitment to transparency and accountability, earning us top ratings on Charity Navigator, Great Nonprofits, and Candid, which underscores our dedication to those we serve. The Marty Lyons Foundation grants wishes to children ages 3 to 17. And what really makes this foundation so special is our willingness to grant not only a first wish, but also consider a second wish to a child who continues to battle a life-threatening illness. We stand by these children, offering them hope and strength through the power of dreams, giving our children the courage to wish for more.
What's your purpose in life? Is your purpose in life to live in the big house and drive the nice car? No. Your purpose in this life is to make it a little bit better for those that follow and realize that we live for today to see a better tomorrow.
Visit MartyWyonsFoundation.org to learn more and get involved.
My sanctuary, my Mona Lisa. You always had my heart, even when we were young. You always eased my worry with just one look I found. So past the complication, it seems so easy.
Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by Ticketbash.com. I'm Peter Schwartz. This segment of Sports Bash is presented by the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund, a group of like-minded individuals trying to raise awareness to our future generations of all possibilities of success other than just college. For more information, you can visit www.lookwhomadeit.org. On this Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, we are so pumped up to have a very special guest on the show today. He's going to be doing his solo concert this coming Friday and Saturday at Mulcahy's in Wantagh here on Long Island, known for starting Big Shot years ago and now just a great solo artist, a great artist that it does a great job every time he does his solo concerts, but he is also known for being in Billy Joel's band, and we welcome to Sports Bash. He's been on the show before and other platforms that I've hosted. Want to welcome in a good friend of the show, Mike Delguidice. Mike, it's Peter. How are you?
How are you, Peter? Good to see you, man.
Good to be seen, and good to see you as well. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. And I think I ask you this every time I have you on one of the shows that I do. And I know generally you give the same answer, but just for the purpose of this interview, I'm going to ask the question again. And this is an apropos question the day before Thanksgiving. It's unbelievable how your career, where you came from to where you are now all these years with Billy and doing the great solo shows as well. How thankful are you on the day before Thanksgiving?
I'm really not, man. I think it's horrible. The whole situation, to be honest with you. I mean, a guy like Billy Joel. Come on, you got to be. No, you know my heart, Peter. Yeah. It's always overflowing with gratefulness for this whole situation. It's still hard to believe it. You still pinch yourself, Mike. You still pinch yourself that this is happening. Yeah, it happens on stage where I'll just kind of look over it and look at it. It's like a realization moment that happens. I look over at least once a night and get that feeling of like, geez, what am I doing here? This is bizarre. This is just like absolutely bizarre. Yeah.
I realized how popular you have had just on your own during the pandemic when obviously there were no concerts going on, but you were doing live from the porch on your Facebook channel. And you had as many people would ask you to sing a Billy Joel song, or as many people would ask you to do one of the other, bands that you like to cover at your own concerts. But people were starting to really ask you to play your own songs. I know I was a lunatic on those things. I was trying to get you to do Mona Lisa and do some other things that you were doing at that time. But was it during the pandemic when you realized just how popular you had been getting when you were doing those porch shows?
I don't know. I mean, I think the porch thing was definitely instrumental in getting people to hear my songs, because when it comes to playing, like we're doing a show where mostly it's cover songs, and I'm doing that kind of thing. In those places, people really, like, especially like a Mulcahy's or a Paramount, they want to dance, they want to hear stuff they know. You throw an original out, it's like it just gets trampled on. It's not that they don't care. It's just kind of like, we're here, we paid money, we want to dance, we want to be entertained. And I think and that would get into my psyche, and I'd be like, I'm not playing any of my shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want worse. That's all I need right now is to feel worse about myself. So let me throw one of those out and just have the crowd just like cricket, like kind of disperse to the bathrooms. So the porch thing was kind of like, I didn't have a live audience in front of me. I did on comments, but I didn't in the room. So it was easier for me to play my stuff and be like, and not feel the shift in momentum in the room. What would change would be the numbers, so I would see how many people would go off because I was playing my own stuff as opposed to staying on. And I think at the peak of the porch during COVID, there was probably 1,500 people a night, sometimes up to 2,000 or more, and then sometimes dropped to 1,000. And what I noticed is that whenever I started playing my own stuff, like maybe 200 people would drop off, 300 people. But then I realized to myself, well, there's still 1,200 people watching you do your own stuff. And I think it was easier for me then to look and say, okay, well, they're on there, they're not leaving. Let me just keep playing it, because obviously we're not going anywhere. It's COVID, we're locked down. I'll just keep doing this every week. And maybe a few more hundred will drop off. But by the end of it all, if I do an all original thing, I might still have 800, 700 people that are really getting to finally hear my music, which wouldn't have come to a live venue.
What was the song that got the most requests when you were doing those shows?
There was a few. There was definitely, obviously, Mona Lisa was one, because I had put that out with the video with Kevin James, so that one got more media attention, so to speak. But then there were grassroots ones. There were ones that grew on people quickly that they wanted to hear. Heroes being one of them.
I love that song. That's an awesome song.
Thank you. So Heroes, Right Place, Wrong Time. There was a bunch of new ones that I was kind of putting out, and it seemed like people were really digging some of that stuff. And again, very, very lyrical stuff, very true, kind of, from the gut kind of lyric stuff, and I think everyone was, during COVID, we were all kind of just not knowing what the hell was going on.
Right.
And I think that it was the ripe time for people to have no choice but to listen to something new, right? Either they were just going to go back to their regularly scheduled broadcast they would watch on TV, or they were invested in this show every week that they were watching on a Wednesday and a Sunday. And again, I needed them. And so many people come up, you have no idea the porch, what it did. And the truth is, it's like, I tell people all the time, it's like, if you guys weren't watching, if you weren't listening, what would I be? Like, I'd be thank you, So I think it was a time where we got to all really meet each other, and we needed each other. It was, and the after shows really showed that too, because I do the regular show and they would do a 2.5 hour, uncensored live reality show, basically from my house, which, I had episodes where like my dog is like, my little dog is eating her own shit right in the background, and like people are like, I think Allie is eating her own shit. Like we were getting like, it was unscripted. My kids were playing video games in the room, and all you hear is they're all screaming at each other, yelling, "I'll kill you!" And they're on the Call of Duty, and it was like, we really just kind of put it out there, and we were just like, hey, like, this is real. Most reality shows, I think, are edited and scripted to a degree. This was completely whatever, and I think the reality of that, of letting people into my life, caused them to also get vulnerable. And before you know it, there was a simpatico that happened with the fans where we were just, nothing was off limits. It was just real. We were all in, it was just real life, just stuff happening, in the moment.
By the way, I didn't ask about this in advance, but I'll take a flyer on it. If you have your guitar next to you, can we hear a few seconds of Heroes?
Oh, geez.
I guess we're going to get it.
I would love to say I just so happen to have it, but the truth is, it's in the case. It's going to be out of tune. It's going to piss me off, and I'm going to be aggravated. So.
I think
I don't know if I even have my capo. Let me see.
See, live television, live internet.
This is it. This is
And,
what you
and here's the thing. It's like, if I didn't ask, it wouldn't happen at all. But I figure, what's the worst Mike could say? He could say is no. The hell with you. I'm not doing this. We didn't schedule this. We're supposed to do an interview. He's looking for it.
Let me see if it's in tune, and I know it's not going to be, but oh boy! All right, so let me see here.
He's going to get off the air after this interview and say, "That son of a gun, Pete. I wasn't supposed to."
Out of tune. Hold on. You're killing me, Pete.
I'm sorry. I'll scream extra loud Saturday at Mulcahy's. How about that?
All right, deal.
Okay.
Let me just make sure where we're at. Oh my God, I'm not ready for this amount of breath. It's gonna be terrible anyway.
Never can be
anyway. It don't freaking matter. I've gotten so used to sucking that it's starting to become comforting. I'm just used to it. Let me see. Okay. Yes. All right. We're good. So
we're good.
What do you want? Just a few seconds?
Yeah, a few seconds of heroes.
All right. Hey there, son, let me talk to you. Let me tell you things that I need to teach you. It may take some time to be fair with me. Maybe when I tell you, then you'd understand me a little more. Hey there, Daddy, you remember too. Daddy's Day Parade, Tyler Ave. Rocking on your shoulders to the sound of drum. Nearly 7 years old, but every ounce your son. Where do the good ones go? Where do the heroes go?
Awesome.
Little clip.
Mike, I can't thank you enough for doing that. That was awesome. Thank you. Mike Delguidice, of course, from Billy Joel's band, but also a tremendous solo artist, and you get to see him at Mulcahy's on Friday and Saturday. And for you and your career, Mulcahy's has been so important. It's really where you were noticed years ago with Big Shot. The stage is named after you now, and it seems like a silly question. I'll ask it anyway. How special is it for you to still go back there all the time?
Oh, I think it's great. I mean, it's about fan connection. What we do is always about connection, and there's no better way to feel connected than in that kind of atmosphere, because it's home. It's just, we never stopped. I never stopped doing it. So there was never, just because I got in Billy's band, there was never a break in action. Mm-hmm. So the connection remained, and then it just got stronger. So I think it's awesome. It's home. It's like we go there and it's just, yep, we're home. Quick 2-minute, make a line check, do it really quick, and the crowd's right there. They're ready to go. They know what they're gonna get. They'll get some surprises, but they're ready for what they love. They're ready for what they want. What they know they're gonna be. And with Mulcahy's, it's always get them to sing along. You know what I mean? They just love to be involved.
Yeah, I like when you walk along the bar, like you disappear for a minute and you come out of nowhere somewhere. You walk across the bar and get people dancing and up and singing and stuff. It winds up being just an unbelievable show.
Yeah, it's fun. The running through the crowd thing became a thing, and I do like doing that. And I've been doing it up to maybe 2 months ago when I got COVID, and I just said, I don't think I'm going to be running through the crowd that much. Because the last time I got it kind of sucked. It kind of sucked. It was rough. But I was like, yeah, but I'll get back to it because I'm stupid like that. It don't matter. I'll just get back to do it. But it's fun. You want that atmosphere of, again, being close, and you can't get closer than that. I mean, people are all over you. You're just all sweating on each other, and everyone's screaming, and and I think that's the thing about Mulcahy's. It's that hometown connection. It's this it's a simpatico that I just have with that audience. The same with the Paramount. We had that in Suffolk. We have, the crowd just is anticipating that kind of, connection. And I think that's when you make that connection, that's what makes that show special, and which make that play. And not to mention, I played there long before I did Big Shot, so I was playing with Kid Gloves and some other bands and doing solo stuff there. So me and Mulcahy's go back a long way.
No question about it. And looking forward to these shows Friday and Saturday. It was not long ago when your album came out. The album had Mona Lisa on it and a bunch of other great songs. And I guess it begs the question, are you in the studio now? Are you working on some new material? Should we expect any new songs coming out from you as a solo artist anytime soon?
Yeah, I think what happened is, like usually with my writing is like I'll go years without putting something out. So like the gaps between, My Street, Miller Place and My Street were years and years. And then the gap between My Street and Mass Production was like 10 years, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
So my phone naturally is just getting filled up. My voice memos are just, swamped with bits and pieces that I felt were worthy enough to at least get on the phone. And I'm my worst critic. So by the time I start listening back to stuff, I have to get very nitpicky. So, and Mass Production was kind of like, I just had like a massive stomach ache for like 10 years, and I just shit out a 24th song, like here's everything from the last, and now it's out, and now it's like, I think the next thing will be releases of singles, because I think, the population at this point, obviously with social media and everything else, it goes without saying that the attention span of humans is
very small. No
very
question.
small. So I think just a single here and there as I'm writing it when it's fresh. I love to record something right when I write it, because it grabs the emotion of what I'm feeling, and I think that's where the single for me helps, doing just a single, because
Mm-hmm.
I hate every thing I do. So I need to kind of like, it's very hard for me to put stuff out. It's just not my, I'm not good at that.
Yeah.
I'm not good at it. So I think the single works well, because when I'm feeling something, if I'm emotionally attached to a certain song, let me get it out while the feeling's fresh, and while you're doing a vocal track and it's fresh on your mind. And then I think the emotion of when you write it attaches to the recording. And I hate to have to feel something for 10 songs, 11 songs, 12 songs, and then years later write it when the emotion is not as attached,
Mm-hmm.
So I on Mass Production, that's why I think Heroes and Mona Lisa and some of those newer tracks were like brand new.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they had a lot of that emotion attached to it. And some of them were just older songs that made it. But
When you were last on the show, I think it was back in the spring, Billy was winding down the residency at the Garden. We had talked to you about when what that was going to look like, and at the time, people were going crazy. Oh, Billy's not going to perform anymore. And he never really said that. He just said that the residency was going to end, and of course, he continues to tour. And obviously, UBS Arena here on Long Island is coming up on New Year's Eve for the second straight year, and there's other shows coming up at Hard Rock Live in Hollywood, Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Mohegan Sun is going to be a good show, and Rogers Center in Toronto. So I think everyone's probably past the shock, Mike, of the residency ending, but I think also people are starting to settle into the fact that Billy's not done yet, and you guys are still on tour.
yeah, certainly seems that way. We're the information you get is only just a little bit behind the information we get. So it's the kind of thing where, he's at that level. I mean, he could do whatever. He's Billy Joel. He could do whatever the hell he wants, right? So if he wanted to stop, people, I think, would have understood. But the truth is, we don't stop what we do.
Mm-hmm.
If we wanted to go work a 9-to-5 job and that was our lot in life, which is nothing, you got to do what you got to do. I've done it in the past. It is what it is. You make that choice. And when you make a choice to do something that's passion driven, like we do, well, why the hell would you ever stop that?
Right.
I mean, unless there's some sort of, if he gets to a point, and if I ever got to a point where I felt like I wasn't, producing quality, and it wasn't like at least up to some sort of standard for myself, or first for myself and then for people, that would be the moment to bail out. But Billy's not there yet. I mean, he's his voice. I mean, I'm with him, every month. His voice is better now than it was when we started the residency, and that was 11 years ago.
Yeah, and I think that's true. I wonder. Billy lost a tremendous amount of weight during we saw him, after the pandemic, and I don't know if he had a health scare or anything like that. None of my business, none of anybody's business. But he just looked like he was so much healthier when you guys came out of the pandemic and got back to work and doing shows. It just seemed like he was healthier.
Yeah, it seemed like that to us too. We first got together in Pennsylvania and did obviously a series of rehearsals. We did like a week of rehearsals, and it appeared that way to us too. It was a really nice. He came in one entrance. We were already there rehearsing for a bunch of days, and I was doing the piano stuff, and then he showed up, and then all of the crew and the band came this way, and he walked in this way with his little entourage, and it was just like, hey, how you doing? It was like nobody had seen each other, but everybody was excited, really excited. And he looked great to us too. I think, obviously it was that appreciation of like, man, all I have to do, like when I get aggravated, say I'm like working sometimes, I work too much. I do too many gigs and my throat's shot, or, I'm sick of traveling and I've been on airplanes, because if it was just Billy's gig, it's, then that would be not hard to do because it's only 2 a month. Let's, be realistic. Probably not enough to satisfy the passion thing. And I think, for Billy, he's at an age where 2 is good for him. 2 a month is good for him. It's never going to be too much, so who knows how long this thing could go? I mean, This could go another couple of years, and maybe it's all going to be dependent on how he feels. I know that I can't go a certain amount of time without being like, man, I need to play. I just want to play. Because we're passion driven, we love what we do, and if we stop, then we die. So it's not like musicians, actors, comedians. This is like the arts. This is like a different kind of thing. We cannot stop. There is no stopping. That's when I think we stop. Our soul stops. Our brains just and we give up. And I can't. I don't see anyone doing that. I don't see anybody in what we do doing that if we really love what we do.
Turn the Lights Back On was outstanding. Billy hadn't recorded anything new in the longest time, obviously, but that song got so much great acclaim. I loved it. I remember hearing it as soon as it was put on the air the first time, and like, wow, that's like Billy. That's a Billy Joel song. Like, that was unbelievable that he went so long without having a new song that came out, and it took off. And I'm curious what your thoughts were on it, and do you think we'll see anything more new from Billy?
I'm not sure if we'll see anything new, but I did just see a clip like you guys probably did of him doing a clip on a John Mayer podcast that he's doing now. Mm-hmm. And he said, hey, I got this thing I've been working on for 10 years and I haven't played it yet. And then it paused. So I haven't heard it either. Nobody's heard it. Maybe he has other stuff in the shoot. I think as far as Turn the Lights Back On, I think it was just it was a good moment. As far as I'm concerned, it was a great moment for Billy, no matter what the opinion was of the song. It was a great moment for him. Mm-hmm. People had bashed him for years, write new stuff, do new stuff. And I think, hats off to Freddie, because however he got into Billy's world, and whatever the story is or whatever it wasn't, it sparked something in him again to say, hey, let me try to put something out new. I think he would always be afraid of, the world of music has changed. Pop music has changed. Style has changed. Would anything he write at this point be still stuck in that mode where he was back then, where I am too, with Gen X kind of, would it work today? Yeah. Would it, and I think Freddie's take on this song, and I think Freddie's, ability to jump into Billy's head, so to speak, mm-hmm. as to kind of where he was at, I think was really good and made Billy feel comfortable to say, all right, well, yeah, this sounds like something that I would definitely do. And let me put my touches on it to, bring it to whatever level it needs to be brought to. But hats off to Freddie there for getting in and getting him sparked up again and having that spark to, but the truth is he doesn't need anything new to be relevant. And mm-hmm. that's going to be the everlasting thing with Billy Joel. Is that we're doing shows. He's trying to keep a tour alive, and he doesn't have to try that hard because he's just that great. But the truth is, people, when it comes to like the masses, they're coming to hear the hits. They're coming to hear what they know. You know, we're crammed in. Now we're doing shows with other artists, which means our set becomes a little shorter, not much, but a little. You know, they just want to hear what they know. And, you know, we measure that by crowd response. And I do the same thing with my shows. If I try something new and it doesn't go over that great, that song's gone. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to suffer that fucking pain again. You know, I'm sorry, but I'm like, that's a pain that we feel when the room is, when it's all on us and it's our decision making. You're the lead guy, and you have to hold the room there.
Yeah.
And you do something that doesn't quite go over, and people are scrambling to the bathrooms, and people are whatever. You know, so I think with the new song, as well as anything else that he tries or we try at his shows or even at my shows, it's always going to come down to what the audience wants, because that's what's going to keep them coming back. That's what keeps everybody working. That's what keeps everybody happy. So, you know, I think it's that, you know, and I think it was a great moment for Billy to be relevant in the current press again. And so I think it has to stay away from opinions of the song, the this. Everybody's got opinions. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, well, you know what opinions are like.
Yes, absolutely. giant gaping. Yeah.
Mike, I can't tell you how appreciative I am that you came on and even performed a little bit. Friday night, Saturday night at Mulcahy's. I'm sure there are maybe a couple of tickets left for each night, but you can check on Mulcahy's website and go see Mike Delguidice Friday and Saturday, and obviously a big part of Billy Joel's band. Mike, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, and I can't thank you enough for being on the show.
Thank you, Peter. Great to see you again, always.
All right,
always
and see you on Saturday, hopefully.
Happy Thanksgiving, bud.
All right, you too. Thank you.
God bless.
Thanks.
Okay. Bye.
Mike Delguidice, the great Mike Delguidice. That was great. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun with Mike Delguidice. When we come back on Sports Bash, we're going to turn our attention to the New York Football Giants. I'll be joined by Patricia Traina, who covers the Giants for SI, and she also hosts the Locked On Giants podcast. We're coming back in just a moment.
Beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Hi, I'm Peter.
Living Legends Memorabilia and Collectibles is the best place to find autographed entertainment and sports memorabilia. We guarantee the authenticity of each and every item in our shop to provide you with quality collectibles anytime you browse our inventory. Our memorabilia includes autographed photos, sports equipment, jerseys, hats, and other paraphernalia from current athletes and legendary sports stars. If you prefer the entertainment industry, we have signed posters, albums, and photographs from classic movie stars and today's celebrities. To give back to our community, we participate in fundraising auctions for local charities. Call us today to request a specific autograph, find a special gift for someone else, or schedule an event. Living Legends Memorabilia and Collectibles. Living Legends Memorabilia and Collectibles is the best place to find autographed entertainment and...
Welcome back to Sports Bash. I'm Peter Schwartz. 516-465-3990 is the number to call. Make sure you're subscribing to Gov's Comedy Club podcast on YouTube and also on Facebook as well. And again, if we're still having that issue with YouTube, if you can flip on over to the Governor's Comedy Club Facebook page, you'll be able to watch the show live there, and of course we'll have the show archived about 15-20 minutes after the show is over, so we'll send out some social media alerts about that. If you missed the Mike Delguidice interview, we'll have clips, and you'll be able to watch the replay of the show on YouTube and Facebook later on today. This segment of Sports Bash is presented by Ticketbash.com, where you'll never pay a service fee. Check out Ticketbash.com for some great flyaway packages, including Jets versus Dolphins in Miami and Giants versus Falcons in Atlanta. Speaking of the New York Football Giants, they are set to take on the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day, and On the line with us to talk about everything Big Blue is Patricia Traina, a good friend of the show. She covers the Islanders for SI and is the host of the Locked On Giants podcast. Patricia, it's Peter. How are you?
Hi, Peter. How are you?
I'm doing great. First of all, let's get this out of the way, before I forget, because I'm getting up there in age now and I tend to forget these things. Before I forget, a very, very happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Thank you. Same to you and same to your listeners.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Let's first talk about the game tomorrow, and obviously with the season the Giants are having, it has gone downhill. Right from basically the very, very start. But they are playing on national TV tomorrow against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys have their own issues going on as well. What's with everything that's gone on with with injuries and with Daniel Jones getting released, and it seems like there's a little bit of infighting and questioning the way the media interprets things. What's the mood of the Giants heading into this game tomorrow that a lot of eyeballs are going to be on?
I mean, the show must go on. It's basically what it is. The season's not going to stop for another, I think they've got 6 more games to play. So it's like, there's no time to really sit and dwell in what's gone wrong with the team. You just got to practice, go out there and just keep on going. So, I think some guys are disgusted with how the season has gone. It's been a very long and frustrating season, but time stops for no one, and certainly the NFL stops for no one.
Malik Neighbors, Dexter Lawrence, I guess they were the ones that I guess they let the emotions get the best of them with reporters this week, and there were the soft comments that may or may not have been misinterpreted by members of the media. Has that all calmed down? Did they do what they could yesterday to try and temper any of the misconceptions that may have come out of any of those words following the Tampa game the other day?
Yeah, I think what happened, Peter, is that the national media might have misconstrued the comments. I mean, I went back and I looked at what I wrote, what some of my colleagues who were at the game and in the post-game pressers wrote, and we all quoted correctly. And basically what Dexter Lawrence and what Malik Neighbors were saying is, the performance was soft, not the team. So it's a matter of semantics here. And of course, unfortunately, some national pundits went and they took the quotes out of context, and you had this whole big blow up, and Dexter Lawrence, very upset that his words were taken out of context. But I think, the players, they sat with Brian Dable in the film session. He pointed out what his concerns were, but I don't think, they were saying that the team itself was soft. It was just that the performance wasn't up to their standards.
We're talking to Patricia Traina. She covers the Giants for SI.com and is also the host of the Locked On Giants podcast. She's joining us here the day before the Giants and the Cowboys on Thanksgiving here on Sports Bash. Obviously, earlier in the week, we found out about Daniel Jones, asking for and getting his release after he was demoted, and then we find out earlier today that he is now a member of the Minnesota Vikings as a backup to Sam Darnold. When you think back on the Daniel Jones era, or as some Giant fans might want to say error, when it comes to Daniel Jones, what were your thoughts on covering him every day, and how badly do you feel for him that it just didn't work out with the Giants?
Well, I think Daniel's been nothing but a class act during his time here with the Giants. A kid who came in, he worked hard, he kept his mouth closed, he had the potential to be, the face of the franchise. It's just, the team didn't do right by him, and that they kept changing coaching staffs. They kept changing systems. He had 6 different offensive coordinators or play callers in his ear. And, I go back to the previous regime where they basically coached the aggressiveness out of him. Basically, it was don't make a mistake, don't make a mistake. And I question if maybe that carried over into this with this coaching regime. So very unfortunate. Daniel's a great guy, really, a professional in every sense of the word. And it's a shame it didn't work out. It really is. And I think, maybe he took a little too much heat from people in general. But it is what it is. He's now with the Vikings. He's got an opportunity to, resurrect his career, and I wish him nothing but the best.
I find it interesting that on the Vikings right now, you have Sam Darnold, who did not work out with the Jets and is now flourishing there, and now Daniel Jones is there as the backup. And I don't know if irony is the right word, but or comedy maybe is the right word too. But the fact that two high draft picks by the two local teams, they're now teammates together in Minnesota.
Yeah, I actually wrote that for on an article that reporting that Jones had signed with the Vikings, and also throw in the fact that J.J. McCarthy's on that roster. J.J. McCarthy was linked to the Giants during the draft period. So it's ironic. But look, Sam Darnold out in Minnesota, he's on a 1-year contract. He's going to be a free agent probably. He's going to look to get his next big deal. So it's a good opportunity for Daniel Jones if things work out for him, if he can get back on track. It's an opportunity for him to continue his career, like I said, and he's playing for a team that's contending for a postseason berth, which certainly the Giants are not.
Let me close with this as we get ready for the Giants and Cowboys tomorrow, and the Giants getting set to play out the rest of the season. And it doesn't matter what show you listen to, what station you listen to, what outlet you listen to. One of the biggest topics of conversation in New York sports right now, the future of general manager Joe Schoen and head coach Brian Daboll. When you look at the Giants situation right now and where they're going, where they've been, how do you look into your crystal ball and see what's going to happen with Schoen and Daboll? Do you expect them to be back, or do you think the Giants go in a completely different direction again next year?
Well, the smart thing would be to just start all over with, the new GM, the new head coach, a new quarterback. That's how it really should have been done right from the get-go. That has not been the case. Now, John Mara, the co-owner, I think he's going to want to keep Joe Schoen. You can't keep turning guys over. They're 3 years into this rebuild. The first year they had the success. That was probably the worst thing that could have happened to them because they misjudged the roster from that point on. So technically, you could say that they've had 2 years to rebuild the roster. I think John Mara and Steve Tisch are going to want some continuity. Now, as for Daboll, I don't think he's on as solid ground as Joe Schoen is. I had concerns after hearing the post-game quotes and whatnot that maybe he was losing the locker room a little bit because, look, if you're Brian Daboll and you keep telling the players, trust the process, and the results are the same, at some point those players are going to say, well, we're trusting the process and we're getting the same results. So something's obviously wrong with the process. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something you got to keep an eye on. Are they starting to tune him out a little bit? Is that why we've seen some effort issues over the, here and there pop up? And, look, I think Daboll's a good coach. I think, it's just unfortunate how everything kind of went. But the other thing I think a lot of people aren't talking about is it was hoped that Daboll would, being a quarterback whisperer as he is, would be able to maybe salvage Daniel Jones's career. And he wasn't quite able to do that for whatever the reason. So you have to ask yourself, okay, if you're going to bring in a rookie quarterback next year in the draft, do you want him to coach this guy up, or do you want to go in a totally different direction? And you got to marry the coaching philosophy with the quarterback you're bringing in. And that's not always easy to do. No,
it's not. And a lot more questions than answers from the Giants this season. It's going to make for a very fascinating offseason. Patricia Traina, who covers the Giants for SI and the host of the Locked On Giants podcast, thank you so much again for joining me on the show. And again, as I said at the top, I didn't forget to say it again. Happy and healthy Thanksgiving to you and your family. We hope to talk again somewhere down the road.
Thanks, Peter. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours.
Thank you very much. So we covered a lot of bases on the show. We talked to Mike Delguidice about his solo concerts coming up at Mulcahy's this weekend. We talked Billy Joel, and we thank Patricia Traina for joining us to talk about the Giants. So we're going to run a little over time. Tony's not going to chop my arm off. He said it's okay. We have a couple extra minutes, so we're going to give you the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. It's presented by Living Legends Memorabilia and Collectibles, located at 124 South Long Beach in Rockville Center. Stay tuned after the question. We're going to tell you about the Living Legends item of the week. Living Legends is Long Island's go-to store for sports, entertainment, and political memorabilia since 1996. They're also available for charity auctions. A new poll question is posted every weekday on the Sports Bash Media X/Twitter page. Here is today's question. Going back to our conversation with Mike, we didn't get a chance to ask him this question, but I'll throw it out there anyway. Where should, when it's all said and done and all wrapped up, and if you're a Billy Joel fan, you hope it's a few years down the road that he can still keep performing. But when it's all said and done, where should Billy Joel perform his last concert? Madison Square Garden, UBS Arena, Nassau Coliseum, or other? And comment below. And again, I feel like a broken record that I have to talk about this, but when I put a choice of other, comment below, you have to comment below, because otherwise I don't know what your answer is. I posted the question already this morning, and 1 million people have responded to it, but you have like a bunch of people clicked other, and they didn't comment, Tony. I mean,
it's not rocket science.
Am I speaking English here?
What?
Okay. So, what would your choice be, by the way? Where should he finish it all up? Whenever that day comes, where should he?
I have. Can I give 2 answers?
Sure.
The Coliseum makes sense to me.
If it's still up.
If it's still up, true. But bear with me. I'm going to show my geekness here. I am a huge fan of Billy Joel's music. The place in Philadelphia.
That's why we get along.
Well, that's true. The first place in Philadelphia he performed it at a place in Philadelphia. It's called Sigma Sound Studios. That is where Columbia Records heard his music for the first time, and that's when they signed him. That's when he went on to become who he is today. So that wouldn't be a bad choice, kind of bringing it around full circle.
I like that. So,
thanks.
But a big and a small show. Like he'll have his last major concert.
True.
And then maybe he does a little session back there in Philadelphia.
I like it.
My overall choice would obviously be, and this is the sentimental piece of me, is Nassau Coliseum. It's the first place I saw him in concert. And again, we don't know what the future of the building is going to be, so I have no idea if that's going to wind up happening. But that would be my choice. The Living Legends item of the week is this signed New York Knicks basketball that we're looking at a picture of right now on the screen. It includes signatures from Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, and head coach Tom Thibodeau. For more info, give Warren a call at Living Legends, 516-826-4000. I love that basketball. I actually saw it a couple of weeks ago when I was in the store. And we thank Warren again for bringing Living Legends along as a sponsor of Sports Bash. I want to close with a couple of things. As we get ready for Thanksgiving, let me close with a great event yesterday at UBS Arena and something to really be thankful for. We're looking at video from the event yesterday. The Islanders and UBS partnered to distribute 200 meals to families in need. Each family received a ready-to-cook turkey dinner with all the trimmings that feed 6 to 8 people. The families were sourced from nonprofit agencies such as Island Harvest and Long Island Cares. The Islanders and UBS staff and players' wives volunteered in the distribution. The Islanders always do a great job in the community. Let's now hear from Ann Rinna. She is the Executive Director of Community Relations for the Islanders and the Islanders Children's Foundation.
Absolutely. Today, the Islanders Children's Foundation and UBS partnered together where we are donating 200 meals for Thanksgiving out into the community. We have a lot of volunteers here today. We have the Islanders Wives Group. We have UBS sending employees. We have the community relations team here for the Islanders. And everyone is here lending a helping hand, helping these families get the food out to their cars so they're ready for Thanksgiving. It's so important for the Islanders organization to give back to the community throughout the course of the year. Even more important during the holiday season where we know there's so many hardships in the community. So many people have food insecurities, and being able to have a part in making sure that these families have meals on their table to feed their family is so important. We are only as strong as our community, and if our community is fed well and they're strong, then the Islanders is strong. Absolutely.
We thank the New York Islanders for the videos and for really putting an exclamation point on the meaning of having the map of Long Island on the Islanders logo. And I'm as proud to be an Islanders fan for what they do in the community, even more so than what they have done on the ice throughout their history, and that includes the Stanley Cup dynasty. But the Islanders are so important to the fabric of the community here on Long Island, and yesterday's event was just another example of that. One last thing before we say goodbye for the holiday weekend. Tomorrow I am very honored and privileged to be back as the PA announcer for the Nassau County Senior Bowl. It's going to take place at 10 o'clock in the morning tomorrow at the Mitchell Athletic Complex in Uniondale. And what you have there are those high school seniors that were all county, all conference, that are not currently participating in the remainder of the playoffs. And they are the best of the best when it comes to football players senior-wise in Nassau County. And they are going to play a Senior Bowl All-Star game. It's a great event. It's the last high school game that these young men will ever play. So I am privileged and honored to be asked back for the third time as the PA announcer for that game tomorrow at Mitchell Athletic Complex. So I'm looking forward to that. Coming up next week, back to our regular schedule on Sports Bash Tuesday and Thursday at 1 o'clock. Now on Tuesday, we're scheduled to be joined by veteran sportscaster Chris Myers, who has a new book out. So we look forward to that on Tuesday. On December 13th, there's going to be a brand new 30 for 30 on ESPN. And this one, I can't wait for this. I've seen a lot of these 30 for 30s, and they're all great. And there have been a couple that have been very, very important to me as a sports fan. Obviously, the Islander one was great. The one about John Spano, the crooked former owner of the Islanders. But they are going to have one. I can't wait to see this one. It's going to be on the Jets New York Sack Exchange. And that's going to be a great show. And we are efforting one of the members or two of the members of the Sack Exchange to come on the show. We will have in studio on Thursday, December 12th. He was not a member of the Sack Exchange, so to speak, but he was on that Jets defense in the early 80s and a big part of that Jet defense, and he still lives here on Long Island. Jets cornerback Bobby Jackson is going to be in studio with us on Thursday, December 12th, so we are looking forward to that. So that will do it for this edition of Sports Bash presented by Ticketbash.com. Thanks to my guests, Mike Delguidice and Patricia Traina. And don't forget, make sure you see Mike Delguidice at Mulcahy's this weekend, Friday and Saturday. Great shows coming up at Mulcahy's. Thanks to Tony Walker and everyone here at Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown. Sports Bash is presented by Ticketbash.com and the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund. Sports Bash is sponsored by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, by Living Legends Memorabilia in Rockville Center, by Bearcat Billing Service, the Marty Lyons Foundation, and by Collaborate Studios. For our entire crew, I'm Peter Schwartz saying thank you for watching. We are back on Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Everybody, have a great, healthy, and happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy that turkey. Enjoy the stuffing, everything that comes along with it. Enjoy being